Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, 4D. Good evening, Bronze.
Okay, it's Thursday, 17th of April, 2025. Storm in the Teacup, episode 10. We've reached double figures. And I've run out of fingers, so I'm going to have to start counting on my toes now. When we get to 20, I'm going to be have big problems. That's all I can say.
You're going to have to count the hairs on your head.
That's a good alternative. I like that one.
How are we all? Everyone all right?
Not too bad.
Oh.
Yeah. Work's been tough, but spring has sprung, so that makes things better. You know, I love it when the quickening happens and life starts springing again. Makes me feel good, man.
Yeah, it is nice.
I'd love to say the same, but unfortunately, I'd say I'm a bit sort of stressed out at the moment because on Sunday morning I had quite a loud, obnoxious knock at the door. I go to the door. There's a police officer, and she's there early on a Sunday morning to tell me. Well, I guess to tell me off, to warn me for apparently swearing in the street at someone that they can't tell me who the someone was, and they can't really tell me when that thing happened, if it did even happen. Without going into too much depth, I do suffer with PTSD, so I do have issues with fight or flight, and because I've been arrested several times for things I've never done, I've kind of got a patter off, and so I'd sort of said to her straight away, do I have the right to remain silent? And she'd sort of smiled at me and said, well, you're not under arrest. And so I'd said I didn't want to talk to her, and I sort of attempted to close the door, and she tried to push her way into the house, which is when I went into fight and flight mode and made sure she didn't have access to my flat, and spoke to her from inside the flat, and then she walked away at the end of it. And I just thought, it's getting really scary out there at the moment when you can be accosted on a Sunday morning by a police officer for possibly swearing at someone in the street, which I didn't think was a problem in this. I didn't think it was illegal.
But it's not illegal, is it? That's the thing.
Well, is it? You see, I'm questioning this. The reach of the police has been extended by the use of the non-crime hate incident legislation. So it's a non-crime. It sounds to me, 4D, that you have been warned that you committed a non-crime hate incident. I'm not sure. Don't know what it means. You watch any Hollywood film that's 15 and above certification, there's always going to be constant uses of the F word.
Yeah.
Well, the fact that she came to your house, she knew who you were. So the person who made the complaint knew who you were. And this is just one person. Unless there was other witnesses, I don't know if that was ever established or not. This could be just somebody making something up because they don't like you for something. This is where it, where it's at with this non-crime hate nonsense. So stupid, and it creates all sorts of grief for you. I mean, especially that time on a Sunday morning,
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
It's I don't know I don't know what to say about this anymore. It's become so insane.
Yeah. I mean, non-crime hate incidents, which I may post later on, or maybe tomorrow when I've got a bit more time. It's essentially pre-crime. It's pre-crime.
Yes.
So what's the Hollywood film that deals with that?
Minority Report, isn't it?
That's it. A great film, really good film. And I remember at the time thinking, oh, that's a crazy thought. God, imagine a world like that. Fucking hell. Here we are.
Yeah. Non-crime hate incidents are recorded by the police, and I'm reading from the legislation on gov.uk. It's recorded to collect information on hate incidents that could escalate into more serious harm or indicate heightened community tensions, but which do not constitute a criminal offence. Now, that's interesting, isn't it?
That is interesting because that's exactly what they've done to me by doing what they've done to me. So can I now give that back as a non-crime hate incident for her knocking on my door quite abruptly, I might put, and trying to barge her way into my flat? So is that a non-crime hate incident as well?
I doubt it because I mean and I know you know we're
yeah.
Usually it says here NCHI recording, and they're recording as well. It stems from the Stephen Lawrence inquiry, codes of practice to create a comprehensive system of reporting and recording of all racist incidents and crimes. Now, I know you're not a racist. Nothing you've ever said has led me to believe that. So I don't know if it's that, really. But then again, it's about protected characteristics. The whole thing is really floppy, you know? It's been extended to cover all the protected characteristics covered by hate crime laws in England and Wales, which are race, religion, disability, sexual orientation, and transgender identity. But that is not quite right. If they're talking about the Equalities Act 2010, that the thing we've got to use in that, if we want to turn this against any accusers or the police, is that philosophical beliefs are also protected characteristics. But I don't know. I don't know quite where the legislation stems from, whether it comes from the Equalities Act 2010.
It doesn't sound like there's anything in there about swearing in public.
No. Unless you're using racially charged words, I suppose. But the scary thing about this, right, is where shall I find this?
While you try and find that, I was going to say the scary thing for me is you have no retort, because I don't know who who my accuser is or when this happened. So I can't build a case, because again, everything in law, there should be two sides to it. So I have no way of contesting this because I'm not allowed to know who's put it up against me.
Yeah.
So any crazy person could sit there and just say, "Oh, that guy at number 17 has just called. I'm just going to phone the police and say they've done something to me. They've called me something." It's a ridiculous concept. Yeah, sorry, Viv, go on.
The whole law. This law is seriously mental. You know. Later on, I'm reading definitions of hostility and prejudice. They have no specific legal definition. I mean, so we're talking about perception, and they do interestingly say the perception of hostility or prejudice by a complainant or any other person alone is not enough in and of itself to warrant an NCHI record being made. So, yeah.
You might have been swatted, 4D. Somebody just sent him round with some made up rubbish, and that's the whole ridiculousness of it. You could just make anything up and say, "Oh, this person said this to me." Go and give them a warning at Sunday at 6 o'clock in the morning. Freak them out. It's just crazy.
And adjust.
I mean, I'd have to say, yeah. I mean, oh dear, it's absolute craziness, really. It's craziness. I mean, they do talk an awful lot in this legislation about perception.
Yeah, and that's where it falls down, because perception is an opinion. That's all it is. That's what perception is.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Oh, it's just crazy.
I mean, they do have caveats here. You know, the perception of hostility is invalid. Is valid. You know, but there are caveats.
It's kind of weaponizing a victim mentality in a way, isn't it? If someone feels like they've been slighted, someone's had their feelings hurt, which it happens to everyone every day, one way or another. That's what it is, really, isn't it? It's stupid. So stupid.
I have my feelings hurt when I look in the mirror, for God's sake.
Yeah, me too, mate. I just think time, damn you.
Yes, you are a wicked ruler. Yes.
Yeah, you're a cruel, relentless ruler. Okay, part 2, definitions. Definition of a non-crime hate incident. A non-crime hate incident means an incident or alleged incident which involves or is alleged to involve an act by a person which is perceived by a person other than the subject to be motivated wholly or partly by hostility or prejudice towards persons with a particular characteristic.
No, if I had enough money, that's the problem with the law in the United Kingdom. If you don't have enough money, you can't even, pursue your innocence. But I'm the kind of person that would like to push this further because I'm the one that's left feeling harassed. I'm the one who's left here not being able to sleep anyway because I've got PTSD and not being able to, having all the problems I've got anyway. And when that's added to it, it makes my world a complete shithole.
Yeah, of course.
But that's where you realise that like the law is just it's not what we think it is because you need a lot of money to do it.
I mean, you could very easily say, you could accuse the police of a non-crime hate incident because you are perceived that you are being harassed unnecessarily. So it kind of works both ways. It's like someone calling someone else a bigot. It's like the act of calling someone a bigot is an act of bigotry. It kind of
in a sense, yeah. I mean, I think because you need to have a protected characteristic, all right, or a particular characteristic. Yours would be mental health, 4D, and that you've been. You could say that this is a non-crime hate incident in that you are being targeted because of the problems you have with your mental health, and it's making it worse, which it clearly is.
I mean, it actually is. Yes, indeed. Maybe it's poignant because, yesterday, which has sort of sent shockwaves around the world, we had this UK court ruling that defined what a woman was. And as you were saying there, this non-crime hate incident, it makes no sense. And there will come a time when someone with enough money will fight this. And just like this has taken, 10 years, I suppose, 10 years to define what a woman was because it broke down in society. But at some point, the ridiculousness will pull itself apart, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say.
I think that ruling, the repercussions from that are going to be huge, absolutely huge now, because there's so many people who've fallen foul of the whole misgendering and complaining about men in women's spaces, and they've been ostracized and lost their jobs and this, that, and the other. It's I think that's going to be quite a big turning point. And what was really surprising is it's the UK Supreme Court, and they ruled 9-0 in favour.
Yes, I thought that was interesting. Yep.
So it's not like it was a split decision; that was unanimous from the UK Supreme Court, which was set up by Tony Blair. So it's kind of full of all of his cronies to start with. So it's kind of quite remarkable from that point of view.
Yeah. Thing is, the Supreme Court is considered by some to be an illegal entity. People say it has no actual jurisdiction in the UK, it being a political construct rather than a juridical or legal construct.
And another story which which is kind of connected to this as well.
Before you go on to another story, because I just wanted to quickly say, because I think my view is probably quite very different to most people, because I have a very good friend who's falls into this category that we were just talking about. And you said, Bronze, I think this will have ramifications, and in a way I'm really angry. I feel just the same as most normal people. There are men and there are women. There is nothing else, and you can't swap. So I'm putting that straight out there. But I'm torn because I've got a friend who lives a life very solitary, lives to the way she feels she is, and whatever. I'm not going to go too deep, but the ramifications are that before the LGBTQ made this an issue, my friend, although she had obvious issues, got on with her life reasonably well. No one knew what it was about, and she doesn't flamboyantly show herself off, and it's not craziness. But now I feel deeply sorry for my friend, because I can see and this is what those bastards do. They turn us against each other. I can see how this is going to anger people, and they're going to, it's going to make, I don't want to say it. It's going to make all sorts of problems. And although I'm fully 100% that there's men and there's women, and we need to remember that as a factual point of course, I'm still really upset for the amount of people that have been subdued, confused, whatever word you want to put this, because I mean no disrespect to anyone, but I think it's unfortunate. We're going to have a lot of troubles that come up from this, and it shouldn't have been there in the first place.
Yeah,
I think.
Either way you go with this, there's going to be people caught up in it who really don't deserve to be caught up in it. That's for sure. That's the tragedy of it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think the definition, despite it's a bit broad, but we need to go into, yes, of course, men and women, but within the transgender group of humanity, there are many, many different sorts. Now, your friend is genuinely feels that way. There is another group called autogynephiles who get a sexual pleasure of imagining themselves as women. There are another group of people who are actual misandrists. They hate women. They think they can make better women than women themselves. Then there are another group, like we used to call them transvestites. They'd go out for the weekend. They'd be, Nigel during the week and Nigella at weekends, and everyone sort of, used to joke around with it. But
you said something important there. You said something important there as well, Viv. You said used to, as in we were all used to this. This used to happen. It's not a new thing.
No.
The LGBTQ will have you believe that they've all sprung up, and before they were all beaten to death and they weren't allowed out. Like some of the best comedians, some of the best entertainers that I knew were either cross dressers or transvestites, or all the different. But see, it's fucking disgusting, isn't it?
I mean, the term transvestite has been around for donkey's years, and I actually think many people now who have adopted this transgender identity are quite simply transvestites. They're just men who like dressing up as women. I mean, there are the handful who want something much more, want to go further with it than that. But I think the large majority of them are just men dressing up as women.
Of course, but I'm talking about the motivation.
That's right, yeah. And I was going to say, if you define it from a sexual point of view, number one, no one else should be hearing about it because it's a sexual point of view. And number two, it should not be available to children. So, and that's where I make a distinct line between my friend and a lot of the things that I see out there, because
Mm.
my friend doesn't, well, actually, to the point, has no sexual desires per se, shall we say. So there is no sexual aspect. Well, of course there is a sexual aspect. You know where I'm going. But what I mean,
yeah, gender and sex has been divorced as well. They say, oh, sex, yeah, but what about gender? But yeah, I get your point.
Yeah,
I absolutely get your point. I mean, sex as regards sexual desire, etc., sexual action, whatever. Yes, I absolutely get that, and I believe that to be the case. There is a sexual component in this when men who get excited about the thought of themselves being women, then that changes things a bit. That's another aspect. The quiet transgender people who think, my God, I just feel like I'm a woman. Yeah. And some of them, as you say, are solitary. They're solitary people. So there's a lot more to this than simply, transgenderism. I don't quite know why the LBG, I don't know why the rainbow flag people have taken this on board as transgender. It doesn't, and a lot of gay people, especially lesbians, are very disturbed by this.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of ruined it for everyone. That's the point, I suppose. And it's like, originally we were talking about a non-crime hate incident. It's the idea that they're just twisting the very fabric of what's reality and what's not reality. You can't have a non-crime hate incident. The four words don't go together well, and just as much as you can't not have a defined aspect of what a woman is and what a man is. I saw someone I think it was Julia Hartley Brewer, which I don't really like her actually, but I happened to see her and I thought that was the best She said, we have to have words that make sense. If I have this cup and it's a blue cup, I need to be able to say this is a blue cup, and you need to look at this blue cup and see the blue cup, because if we can't see the blue cup, what's the point in the conversation in the first place? And I just thought, that sums up this. You can't not have what a woman is. And whenever you saw people talking about it, they'd say, so what is a woman? Well, it's when you feel happy and you feel like this. No, what's the definition of a woman? Oh, it's how you feel. No, define it. You can't. If you can't define it, go away from me.
The very dodgy Victorian writer Lewis Carroll, who wrote Alice in Wonderland, it was either Alice in Wonderland or Through the Looking Glass, he introduces Humpty Dumpty, who says this: when I use a word, Humpty Dumpty said in a rather scornful tone, it means just what I choose it to mean, neither more or less. The question is, said Alice, whether you can make words mean so many different things. The question is, said Humpty Dumpty, which is to be master. That's all. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, who controls the so-called lexicon, which is the whole extent of the words we use? Who controls their definitions? That is a power position that you can do that. I mean, of course, words spring from the streets, of course. But
I was going to say, I've always believed that it's kind of the younger generation that defines the next sort of kink or just twist on speech and sort of makes the new words. And is it the younger generation, or is it forced on them by schools and we didn't realise? I don't know.
No, the young people make up words. There's words all the time. Everyone makes up words, and that's fine. It depends if they're accepted. Every year there are new words added to the Oxford English Dictionary, which is considered to be the book. I used to actually have one. It's a massive tome. I gave it away because you got the internet now, haven't you? But
yeah, but that's interesting, because then all three of us are from pre-internet times, and all three of us are kind of in the era. Oh no, it was probably before us, but the word gay went from meaning to be happy and sprightly sort of thing, and to being a homosexual, or a slur for a homosexual. Sorry.
Yeah.
Now, so we're talking pre-internet. So are we saying that human beings are so interconnected? We're so pack orientated that just a few people said that word, gave it the new connotation, and it just went from school to school and took off?
No. Gay was used by homosexual men to turn it around, much like the N word is used by African Americans to turn an oppressive, a hateful word essentially into one that is positive. So, homosexual men adopted the word gay.
It also has to be, creation of new words as well. It all depends on why and for what purpose they're created. Like you said, Viv, words come from the street, and they're not created for any particular purpose. But you do get certain language changes which are forced upon us, which do have more meaningful connotations, what they're intended to do. I mean, for instance, I was listening to our conversation last week when we were talking about a particularly touchy subject, and we were saying we can't call them that, we have to call them something else. And you, Viv, you said, "Oh, let's call them maps." And I thought about that afterwards. I thought, no, we shouldn't use that word either, because that word has been deliberately created to try and normalize it.
Yes,
and make it more acceptable.
I realize that it's a little known word. I mean, when I say words come from the street, not all of them do, of course. An awful lot are created by, say, scientists and even linguists and various academics. I'm thinking of, there's all sorts of words. Let's take the word petrichor. Does anyone know what that means? Petrichor.
No.
Out, I guess.
It's the invention of a word. It's only about, I think, 30 years old. And it's invented by scientists, I believe, to describe something that didn't have a word, which is fine. The petrichor means the smell of the earth after it's been dry for a while, and then rain falls on it, and you've got that lovely earthy smell comes up. we all know it, yeah?
Yeah.
So now it's called petrichor. Oh, I love the smell of petrichor in the morning. But before you'd say, "Oh, I love the smell of rain falling on earth that hasn't, on dry earth." Yeah,
it's a way of kind of sort of minimizing a very long explanation of a thing into one word.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
But it's still very like, how does a word take? I know you said okay, but it was the gay community that took that word on to say, we're happy and stuff. But it still means that, two guys were sat on the sofa and went, "Oh, I don't want to. Let's say that we let's call ourselves gay, whatever it was, blah blah blah." Like, how does that take off? You said they took it on, and I know what you mean by that. But how does it become a thing that then another gay couple used that, and another gay, and then before you know it, everyone in England just
it just simply spreads by a kind of osmosis. It goes between people. Someone hears it, someone else hears it, and then they take it on. They think, yeah. I mean, gay men were always called, miserable. They're unhappy. They're just sad people. So the gays thought, or the homosexuals of the time thought, no, I'm quite happy. It's cool. It's all right. I'm happy in myself. Yeah, I'm gay. I'm just feel free gay.
Probably spread quite organically within those circles, and then you have the maybe the kind of the gay media, if you like, who then pick it up and run with it, and then it kind of grows organically. Things like that, I think. And
that's right. Yeah.
And also, like, homosexuality has become socially acceptable these days, where in those days it wasn't. So if something is socially acceptable, then you get the mainstream media picking up and running with it, and it just becomes, it just grows like that.
That's the way it goes. I do believe. Yeah.
We used to say geezer. We used to say everyone was geezer where I lived. I don't think I knew the word man until I watched the films. But and I often thought, why did people in Pompey say geezer? All right, geezer.
Yeah. There is probably I still use it. I still use geezer. That's
right. I think that's a great word, geezer. But I mean, if you did a search for it, you'd probably find out one or two attempts to explain where it originated, and it might be quite interesting to look that one up. Yeah, a geyser used to be something like a hot water spout in the ground, didn't it? That's what a
That's
geyser
right.
is.
Yeah.
Spelt different though.
Yeah, spelled differently, but geyser, I don't know. Yeah, I might look that one up. Um, yeah, I just wanted.
I'm doing it now,
All right,
so
go for it.
don't worry
Well,
about that.
let me get onto this. What I was what we first started talking about the hate speech thing is, and I was going to say there's a story which is kind of connected to it, and it was actually the Independent, the UK Independent, and it was about how is it Vance is or someone close to him apparently is saying that the UK trade deal with the US is going to be dependent on and let me just see it
Yes, I think I might have seen the same thing
going
as
to
you
be
saw.
dependent upon Starmer embracing their free speech agenda, and of course the Independent put a really typical spin on it, saying it's about all protected characteristics and this, that, and the other, and how Vance is obsessed with freedom of speech and this, that, and the other. But that could be quite interesting. I wonder how much weight there is to that. That there's a bit of pushback coming from outside the country.
Well, when did that come out? When did that report come out?
A few days ago, 2 or 3 days ago, I think.
And don't you find it interesting that we've just had a court ruling on what a woman is? Because I personally found that interesting that there was a free speech clause, and then, by the way, we know what a woman is.
Yeah,
that's what I was about to say. I'm about to say that. So Keir appears to be rowing back. Ever the lawyer, he's blowing with the wind.
And as Bron said earlier, it was a 9-0 vote. It was like I don't know,
Yeah, I mean, coincidences do exist, but
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But some coincidences aren't coincidences. But
and that is all we do. Sometimes we just throw bizarre ideas out there.
When the coincidences become multifarious, there's not just one, there's loads. You think, hang on, whoa, wait a minute. So we just have to wait and see as the Labour Party rolls back on the free speech issue, because they don't like free speech. There's the Employment Act, I think, is coming in soon, and that is disgraceful. Yeah, disgraceful as regards free speech.
Yes, well, it's all disgraceful. But I think I was just going to say, I think it looks like the Labour Party are kind of slowly but surely being pushed in between a rock and a hard place. With they got the US on one side and the EU on the other, and it's no secret that Starmer wants to go the way of the EU, and but the pressure coming from the US is kind of pulling him in two different directions. It seems he's going to have to make a decision at some point or another.
Yeah, I think you're right. Rock and the hard place sums it up at the moment, because he's built his fan base on all these kind of idealisms that are breaking up at the moment. Anyway,
yeah, yeah. I mean, between the three of us, we kind of just had a little. What was it? A few months ago, kind of a bit of a laugh between us, just trying to guess how long Starmer would last.
Oh, yes.
I actually said the summer. I said June, and you guys said later on. So it looks like I think you probably will last past the summer, the way things are going. So it looks like one of you guys might be closer in your predictions than mine.
Yeah, maybe.
I can't even remember. I can't remember what my prediction was, actually.
Somebody said autumn, and I think maybe Viv, you said sort of September, October time, and I think 4D, you said maybe next year. I think.
Oh, okay, right,
yeah. Time will tell. Time will tell.
Yeah, I mean, these things can just come out of the blue sometimes. So
talking of time will tell and things coming out of the blue, another thing I saw splashing all over the internet at the moment is looking at the 9/11. A fresh new whistleblower come out, but if like me, you've been looking into the 9/11 thing since 9/11, everything the guy was saying, I've heard 10 years ago, 20 years ago. I found it I don't know why it's coming up now, but as you guys know, it's one of my big things. I've researched, I've looked into it. Dr. Judy Wood and everyone that's ever done anything about it, I've looked into it. But I was interested with, I think they're called the Architects and Firefighters of New York. I probably mashed that completely wrong, but it's something like that. They've been trying to bring this up in court in the American Supreme Court since all the firefighters started dying of very rare leukemias and brain cancers.
Yeah, I would say, like you, Fordy, probably the three of us, if I can speak for Viv as well, that all of that stuff is stuff that we've all come across, and we're all kind of aware of all of the conspiracy stuff about 9/11. So, like you say, there's probably nothing new in there for the likes of us, but it's probably not for us, the likes of us.
No.
It's being put out, and it's for the normies. So it's being highlighted and it's being put out. Why is it coming out now, you ask? Well, there's probably a very good reason for that. It's to raise, put it back in the minds of the public and to get them used to the idea, probably for something that may be coming down the pipe.
Yeah, yes, indeed.
And what might be coming down the pipeline, do you reckon?
Oh, a disclosure of the truth.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that's what that's all of the conspiracy stuff, the Q stuff, the what's coming next. It's all three of us have this idea that there are truths coming out, and it's maybe we've got different ideas of why and how and what that, but we all kind of think that there's lots of, the world is certainly going through a
reorganization.
I was going to use the word that the horrible deep state used but I couldn't even remember what the word they used for it was. But yeah.
Reset.
That's it. Cheers. Almost like a reset, and I think we do need it. We spoke about in the court defining a man and woman. We've spoke about these ridiculous police stuff, and there's hundreds of other things going on that we talk about every week. There's this reset, this restart, this reawakening of what it is to be human, and really looking at this and changing our ways. It's all coming to.
Yeah, it certainly does feel like that. It certainly the world is being quite dramatically changed on quite a lot of levels. I mean, you look at what's happening economically. Quite a lot of things are being overturned and changed, turned around in that respect.
I mean, every aspect. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's
Birmingham is shocking at the moment. Sorry, Birmingham is shocking at the moment. I mean, this is England. We once controlled a third of the world, and we can't even get the rubbish sorted out in Birmingham. And go on.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, it's the bin strike, and there's also reports that it could go nationwide. And a thought occurred to me about that. I was thinking about that, and I thought it could be something as really basic and innocuous as that, which could bring down the government. Just people's rubbish not being collected. Really,
I've always said dysentery or disease is the first thing that brings a nation down. If you can't get rid of your waste products, you are screwed. If people think it's stabbings or feralness or lack of food, no, it's the dysentery and stuff like that gets you first.
And And it doesn't seem to be an end in sight to that one at the moment. So we'll see. That's ongoing.
But cheer up, come on.
And he's made a rod for his back because he sort of gave money to train drivers and sort of threw it away like it was nothing. And so now all the other groups are saying, well, hang on, we want our piece of the pie because everyone's struggling at the moment. Prices have gone up. And
that's right.
When you said this could be the straw that breaks the camel's back, absolutely it could be, because it's another one where he's backed himself into a corner and there's nothing he can do at the moment. What's he going to do?
He's going to backtrack. That's what he'll do. He's very good at that. Because I told you my joke, didn't I? There's a new car been released by Kia.
Yeah.
It's called the Kia Starmer. It has 2 reverse gears and 1 forward gear.
Well,
but how can he reverse? He
may not have a choice. He may not have a choice. It might be a matter of political survival in his mind. I don't think
you
mean. No, but what do you mean by reverse then?
Well, he'll go back. He'll have to go back on a number of things, such as his support for the entire gender reassignment industry. Because something that I forgot to mention is the transgender movement, if you want to call it that, is also highly, highly profitable, because within the pharmaceutical industry, if you have a transgender patient, you have a patient for life, because they have to keep on taking the medications. They have to keep on going in for surgery. This is ideal for the pharmaceutical industry.
I think as far as the rubbish situation is, the rubbish situation, I've noticed that Angela Rayner, the deputy PM, I think it was her, it might have been that other stupid bint, Jess Phillips, coming under, they're getting a lot of criticism for empowering the unions, for wanting to give the unions more power.
Yes.
And this whole bin strike is the unions exerting their power. So,
and that's what I meant when you said, "Oh, he's going to have to backtrack." I thought, what do you mean by that? Because he can't now go to the train drivers and the NHS and say, "Right, I've got to take that pay rise back off you." That's what I meant by what do you mean from a backtrack view? Because the unions have the upper hand at the moment.
Yeah, I get that, but I don't consider the unions counterintuitively, or whatever it's called. I don't think they're that strong. There's only one union that came out really against the assault on workers' rights during the COVID coup, and that was Workers' Union of England, which is the union for me. But all the others, they just went along with it.
They undoubtedly feel they certainly don't have the power they used to, but they undoubtedly feel more empowered now that Labour are in power.
Of course.
And Labour are probably, doffing their cap to them and doing this, that, and the other. And, that may stop. They may stop being so sympathetic to the unions and the union demands. They may.
And that's why he's got his
no instead of yes when the unions, try and put pressure on them for something or other.
Yeah. And that's why he's got his back against the wall at the moment, because the situation with rubbish is quite a big situation for him to have to deal with. If he collapses and gives in to the unions, obviously that's the end of him, because then the next one jumps on board and the upper hand becomes a big upper hand, or he negotiates this down. But if this is a game of poker and I'm playing the hand of the small union for the refuge collectors in Birmingham, I think I've got quite a good hand at the moment. I'm not feeling any need or to back down right now, which means Starmer's in that situation where he cannot come out of this well.
No, I mean it's going to boil down to money, because that's ultimately what the unions want. They want more money, and we know that councils across the country are going bankrupt. Money is a massive issue for a lot of councils,
22 billion black hole, don't you know?
Well, yeah, and the government as well. So he's either going to have to, if he folds to them, it means forking out more money for them. And you know, the rubbish might not even get collected because they do a pretty crap job these days as it is. Anyway, our bin collections are becoming more and more infrequent. They used to be, you know, every week, and then it's every 2 weeks, and blah 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 blah. So yeah, you know, yes,
I don't think it's fair to blame the unions as such, though. The administration have done this, have put the rubbish collections back. They're receiving orders from above. And secondly, I would say, who is more important to the welfare and health of a society, a politician or a bin man or woman?
Absolutely, yeah, exactly, yeah.
I
I'd better say the answer is bin man there, but
of course, yeah. But I wonder how many people would actually realise that this is it. If you asked, you know, if you asked,
and I suppose that's what this is about. It's people. That's, you know, that's another wake up call to people. The power, or not the power. Sorry, the importance of these people that a lot of people think are just menial. Mainly men. I'll point out again. Mainly men do the cleaning of the streets. These toxic, horrible males that everyone wants to slag off. It's usually them.
Yeah, I mean, this is the backbone of society. All these menial, low-paid, they are, you know, low-paid jobs, and everybody looks down. Social status is very low. Someone who, a street sweeper, you know, a cleaner, a bin collector, all of these types of people are just not. They're not appreciated enough for what they do. People don't realise just how important what they do is.
Absolutely, yep.
Yeah,
they were all clapping. You know, it annoys me as a self-proclaimed working class guy. We all had to clap for the NHS, and we had to come out and say how good they are, but no one comes out clapping for the bin men. It is a thankless, absolutely horrible job. It's like caring. It's a really, it batters you down. It's a hard job. You don't get paid. They claim that you don't have to be intelligent to do it, which again, it's got nothing to do with that at all. It's just you have to have a particular strong mind to do, or whatever you have to do that job. But no one appreciates it because it's not brain surgery, and I don't understand that.
When I was a kid, okay, we used to have when I was very young, we used to have coal fires. We used to use coal to heat our boiler, and we used to have a coal bunker in the back of the house. Okay, and there was a passageway down the side of the house, and in that coal bunker, we used to keep our dustbin, our rubbish bin. And when they came round once a week, they used to come down all the way down the side passage, pick up the rubbish, the trash can, take it out, empty it, bring it all the way back, and put it back. And as time went on, that became less and less and less. And it got to the point where they would not take it or collect it unless you took it out yourself and you put it out on the street. That's what happens nowadays. Everybody has to put their rubbish out on the street, their bins out on the street for them to be collected. How times have changed, though.
Yeah.
I really dislike the new bins. I really dislike them. You know, the big plastic bins.
I love you, Viv. They love you. They speak very highly of you.
Oh, I know. Yeah, you're right. That is a non-crime hate incident.
Yeah. A non-crime bin incident.
But seriously, one of the old, galvanized bins, much more beautiful than those big, ugly plastic four-sided bins that are pushed outside every house, that ruin the frontage of every house, especially in the small town I live in. You know, I mean, it's just part of the de-beautification of this nation.
Yeah,
it's just uglification.
Uglification, and it's more plastic. Everything bins used to be made of metal, and they lasted. Now they're just made of plastic,
that's right. Plastic shit everywhere.
And we have a squirrel problem here, and the squirrels have eaten through every single bin in the area. And on a hot day, it absolutely stinks around here. Genuinely, it's just because they've got plastic bins, and so that they gnaw at the corners, and that's it. It's
Well, 4D. If you ring up the police, they can send a policewoman around to go and give them a warning.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, they're. I mean, squirrels are vandals, and basically they need sort of antisocial behaviour orders slapped on them.
Yeah, I will stand up for squirrels. I happen to like squirrels, although the common squirrel in this country is a grey squirrel, which pretty much eradicated the red squirrel, which was indigenous to these isles, which was a shame.
That sounds like racism to me.
But many people don't like squirrels. They call them tree rats. Okay, and I get it. They can be a nuisance, but I like them. I think they're cute.
Have you seen squirrels anywhere else in the world, as in country?
Can't say I have.
United States have a lot. I know. Indigenous reds. I don't know, actually. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know.
I've seen them in quite a few countries, and the thing that's always baffled me is it's almost like the idea of football hooligans, but squirrels all over the world seem to be really nice and lovely, and you can go in Canada, you can feed them, they come up to your hand. It's almost like a Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. They sing, they come up to you, they bounce, they give you a little kiss. Over here, you go anywhere near a squirrel, it'll scratch your eyes out, or it
they're mental, aren't they?
And they're mental. Yeah, I think it's just British squirrels.
Well, I mean, some of them it depends.
Yeah, they're like.
I have them in my local park, and if you go down there with a bag of nuts on a fairly regular basis, they get to know you, and they know you've got food, and they'll come up and they'll be very friendly.
Oh, is that what it is? So they have to kind of get to know you before they'll trust you, but they do trust you.
I guess so. Yeah, I mean, in the park, loads of people feed them. They're used to people in the park, so they probably don't get quite so freaked out. You see one in the wild, and they'll scuttle up a tree as soon as they see you. But the ones in parks and stuff are probably a bit more domesticated, if you like.
Squirrels are another one. I always, because I'm always in a fantasy world, but I always envision squirrels with really hard sort of East End London accent. I want to fucking mess you up, geezer, innit? Because squirrels are just
they do have that accent. I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
If you look at me like that again.
Yeah. Where's my nuts, you fatty bastard? Oi, out my way. Oi, over here.
And another talent you've unveiled there, Viv. You're fluent in squirrel. Didn't know that.
Thank you. I am actually very good at accents. Some people said I should have been an actor because of my command of accents. I can't do every accent, but I can do certain ones very well. I mean, squirrels, well, I don't know, but,
I love people. My friend can do great accents, and she can take off some people. I love when people can change their voice to sound like someone different. I've done acting, and I quite like it, but I cannot do any accent. Every accent I try and do always sounds like a mash of about three of them. I'm absolutely terrible, and I think, well, I was a good actor. I can look at, I can understand, but no, I cannot change my voice. It is what it is.
Yeah,
it takes practice.
It didn't stop Michael Caine. I mean, he's got the same accent in every film.
Yeah.
If he's supposed to be American, he's still my name's Michael Caine.
Yeah, Sean Connery was another one. He just
he did have the same accent. It's brilliant.
Michael Caine's got the same accent and the same acting. He's absolutely bog standard.
Yeah, I know. But I can't help liking him though, especially the early films.
Really?
Yeah. The Italian Job, great film. The
Italian Job, man, and that bloody one, Get Carter, it's mental.
Get Carter, the Ipcress Files, loads of them.
Get Carter has a brilliant line. He's got an accent, like he's got a London accent, and he's going back to his homeland. So he goes up to Newcastle, he goes up to Newcastle, and he hasn't got the accent at all. He doesn't even bother. It's all the actual local Geordies are going, yeah, right, he's back now. Hello, lad. Hey, buddy, lad. And he's going, yeah, I'm back, I am.
Was it Get Carter where there's that line where he's kind of facing up to this tough guy and he goes, "You're a big lad, but you're out of shape." For me,
yeah, that's true.
It's a professional occupation.
Yeah, that's right. He says, look at you. He says that to Ian Hendry, look at you. Your eyes are like piss holes in the snow.
I did three and a half odd years with the Royal Engineers, and their Bible, their thing is the Rorke's Drift and the story.
Yeah,
I've been forced to watch that damn film. I must have seen that in that 3.5 years about 200 times.
Yeah.
And I can confirm he doesn't say the line that everyone thinks he says in that film.
No,
but I suppose he's all right in that one.
Zulus, sir. Thousands of them. do you know the head Zulu there? In the Zulu cast, he is actually he became king. It's Mangalasu Buthelezi.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
But the Rorke's Drift story is, it's they do watch it, but it is a major battle honour for the Royal Engineers, and so I'll put a call out to our great Royal Engineers because that is true storyline. And the way they faced off and did what they did, that's one of their sort of great battle historic sort of things that they talk about at the Engineers.
It was a defeat, though, wasn't it? Rorke's Drift, essentially.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So don't we love our defeats? Don't we love our defeats? But they're more important. They're more important than the victories.
Yeah, Dunkirk, Charge of the Light Brigade. But I think we can all agree that we give a salute, a sincere salute to the Royal Engineers.
Indeed, yes, indeed.
Whether it be in defeat or victory.
Yep, indeed. Much degraded now, but still going on.
Yeah.
And never forget also that the Royal Engineers are all half the man I was, because I'm the Royal Electrical and Mechanical Engineers. So I have 2 extra letters in mine, and they're just RE. So only ever half the man I was.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah, I know. What are we talking about? I've forgotten now. Oh God, squirrels. Yeah, that's right.
There was one other story which we may want to briefly talk about. This Blue Origin flight, this space flight, the bimbos in space. You see much about that?
Is it a fake?
Well, this is the question.
I saw that. I mean, from one point of view, I'd sort of say you could just argue that we all know it's for the cameras, and you could argue that they'd already done the formalities and this was just them waiting for the. But either way, I mean, I don't believe any of it anyway, so it's kind of crazy to me. But there was no pressurized opening of no door, mate. There was no oxygen coming out of that capsule.
That was a photo op, definitely. When the opening of the capsule, because you see they opened it, they tried from the inside, and then the woman went over and said, "No, not now, not yet." But there is another bit of footage of them inside, supposedly when they're up in space and they're all floating in 0G. One of them falls, and you can hear her. You can hear her go. She falls. So it's a bit strange. That was.
Oh, but they must have been re-entering orbit. Yeah, you see, that's what it was.
And they were wearing heels as well. The shoes they were wearing.
Of course, yeah, but they're celebrities, aren't they? I don't quite know who these women are. I don't know much about celebrities. Don't have a telly. Don't watch telly. Don't know. Half the time I see these. Yeah, I know, mate. But half the time I think, well, who is this? Why is this person important? What's going on here?
One of them was
and you're absolutely right. Why are they important? It's manufactured rubbish anyway.
Yeah, of course it is. Yes, mate.
It does also beg the question, all right? I mean, we all grew up watching the moon landing and the early Apollo missions, and these astronauts were trained to the nth degree. They're at the peak of their physical fitness. They had to go through all of this rigorous testing to be an astronaut. I mean, you have to survive the G's of takeoff and everything. And you get these six floozes who just put on a jumpsuit and some heels and get in a capsule, and they're okay to go up into space. But what, did they not have to go through all that rigorous testing now? What is that? It's like, what's going on there?
They don't need to. Bronze, go. Oh, mate, they're different to us. They're special.
They're
celebrities. Come on.
They're super being celebrities.
They are, aren't they? Come on.
And also, let's say it's all real and it's brilliant. But if the three of us were given the once in a lifetime opportunity to go up there and do that, do you not think none of us would have done anything but look out the window, talk about what we were seeing, because it would be the only time we'll ever see it like that? And all those idiots did was look at the camera, do some hearts, show something about an upcoming tour. Like, even that just said to me, you're either so entitled that you have no concept of the amazing opportunity you've been given, or this is all just a lie.
Yeah, I personally, I can't imagine what my reaction would be in that situation, but I think I'd most probably be speechless if I was really.
I think, to be honest, I'd need underpant protection. I need a big old nappy to start, because I would be shitting myself.
Well, you just need to make sure. Viv, you need to make sure that the space capsule they put you on, has a tampon dispenser, and you'd be all right.
Yeah.
A woke space capsule.
Yeah, you are right then. Yes, well, there's that, and I also want to say something. Here we go. The WHO brings countries together to test collective pandemic response.
Mm-hmm.
It is called Exercise Polaris, which tested WHO's Global Health Emergency Corps, the GHEC. It's funny that, isn't it? It's funny that after a few months before the COVID coup, the COVID assault, there was a tabletop exercise. Yeah, what was it called? Event 101? Was it Event 101? Anyone remember?
I can't remember exactly what it was called, but yes. What was it? Exercise Polaris. Yes.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
2-day global simulation, 15 countries, 350 experts, all playing war games with a fictional virus. And they did the same thing for COVID before that was unleashed. If you're not awake yet, this is your alarm clock.
Yeah, I beg your pardon. It was Johns Hopkins, the Center for Health Security. It's an American. Johns Hopkins is an American higher learning, and they ran Event 201.
Yeah, well, I mean, if we run with this speculation, this does turn. Will they get away with it if they are planning to release another plague upon us? Will they get away with it?
They did go over the last one.
What? Sorry,
it didn't go away with the last one, mate.
Well, I tell you what frightens me, guys. It was wasn't it specifically in that thing that you linked, was that it was to kill off children, and the first thing I thought was, again, the COVID was the first part of that, i.e. get the jab into people, get the immune system destroyed. I think, what if this is just what if there is no planned pandemic coming? It's actually just the offshoot of COVID.
During the COVID fraud, scientists said that children were the least likely to be affected. So what happens? Oh, let's jab up the kids.
And now they've got no immune systems. Yep.
So
as soon as I saw that thing, I got worried. I thought, damn, is this where we lose the younger ones that never got an opportunity to build up an immune system? I mean, it's catastrophizing. We don't know if that's true or not, but it certainly doesn't. I wouldn't be shocked. Yeah.
It doesn't inspire confidence in our wonderful, caring leaders, does it?
No, not at all.
But we're ready. We're ready. Lots of us are ready. We are ready.
Are we? Are we ready for the kind of what do you call that? Pain, of something like that. I know what you're saying you're ready for, but are you actually ready for the actual reality of something as bad as that?
No, I'm not, because it's unpredictable. It's an unpredictable, predicted event. In other words, we don't know exactly how it's going to play out if it happens, and I'm only saying if. But I know that here in this small town, a small group of us, you've been to the stand, haven't you? And you met that lot, and we've all arranged that. Okay, if it goes down, another event, then we meet there on the day at a particular time, usual time, 10, 11. So we didn't have that. We didn't have a network before. We felt very lonely. Well, I certainly did at the time. So
true. And me and Bronze will be coming up as well. So put our names down for that.
Of course, you'd be welcome. So we have networks.
Yes, and we all have those now, I suppose. There is, from that point of view, yes. Yeah.
We've spent 5 years building solid networks and networks of resistance.
Good point. Yeah, good point.
Yeah, I mean, there's that really raised a lot of awareness, what we went through with that. And there's a lot of people now who are pretty much kind of clued in to the what may, if it happens again, there's not going to be this gradual kind of awakening to it. There's going to be instant pushback from
absolutely
solid block.
We will go. We'll meet in the park. We'll decide what to do, and we'll coordinate. We won't, obviously, of course not. We'd engage in zero violence, because that is not anything to do with us.
Yeah, well added. Yeah.
But we'll be there. We'll be outside the town hall. We'll be outside the places where they are there, where they're instituting this, and we'll ensure that that people know there is pushback against it. We're not going to put up with this again. The destruction of young people, the deaths that were caused, the terrible effects on the economy, on healthcare, it just goes on and on. The deaths of despair, the suicides of our young people. It's disgusting.
And even people who fell for the jab the first time round, I think a lot of those people won't go take that route again. They won't just blindly go, yeah, okay, stick it in my arm.
Well, a few people will. There's still a cult out there.
Yeah, of course. I'm not saying everyone, but I'm saying there's going to be a hell of a lot of people this time who will just say, wait a minute, no.
You're absolutely right.
We've just been through that, and I had to take booster after booster after booster, and I was told it was effective. I kept getting COVID, and you told me it was safe, and I kept getting COVID. Every time I got a booster, I got COVID. It's like,
I know. The penny should have dropped by now for a lot of people, but there are cult members. There's a cult formation.
Yeah, of course. There's always going to be like that.
Always. Amount. Even the maddest thing, there will be a cult around it. Even the absolutely maddest thing, you'll still get a little group saying, "Oh yeah, yes, I agree. That's good." Yes,
I don't think there'll be many of those left. I think the more injections you've had, the more susceptible you're going to be to a shorter life.
Well, unfortunately, it seems to be the case. I know.
I reckon Joni Mitchell will probably write a song about it.
Oh, Joni, God bless her. I mean, my God.
Get a jab, get a jab.
Oh, but I don't know. I still like Joni. She had Morgellons, she said, and that's one of these things that's linked with conspiracy theories. You know Morgellons?
No, I
Do
don't.
you know-
Are they related to pangolins?
Ha ha!
I thought they were
Whoa.
children of goblins, but yeah.
Are they?
That's a bit
Are
harsh. Harsh.
or Morgellons? Are they Welsh goblins?
Yeah.
You know, like well, Morgan. You know, Tuffy Morgan.
Morgan of the Valley.
Who knows, man? It's just too mental. But Morgellons are basically it's some weird shit that people say. It's I can't even find it on the internet. It's so obscure.
Just tell us what it is, Viv.
It's when people get this uncontrollable itching and scratching under their skin. Some of them pull out these fibers. It's really weird.
Yes.
Oh, that was a big thing about 10 years ago. Yeah, or 5 years ago. But yes, I remember that.
It's called delusional.
Yes.
I'm looking here from the Mayo Clinic, which is not exactly trustworthy. It's a medical and a United States medical facility and organization. It's the informal name of a self-diagnosed, scientifically unsubstantiated skin condition.
Sorry, I was thinking of something completely different.
I want a second opinion from the Salad Cream Clinic.
Yeah. Well, the Mayo Clinic, has taken over because as sales of salad cream fall, sales of mayo rise, and this is the bloody result. But apparently, according to the Mayo Clinic, it's a form of delusional parasitosis. Delusional parasitosis is a condition in which people firmly believe they're infested by parasites, mites, worms, or other organisms, even though a physical examination by a healthcare professional doesn't support this idea.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Technically, they're right because we're all completely filled with parasites and things. So technically, they're right anyway.
You are correct. Hence parasite protocols, hence nematodes, i.e. worms, being the most abundant species on this benighted planet.
Going back slightly, so Viv, are you saying you would recommend if craziness happens again, you would recommend people go and look for their local stand in the park? Is that what we're saying?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I've tried that.
I wanted to push it a bit harder just so people can, especially in England, because I think Americans have kind of sorted themselves out and they've got their networks and the people that are waking up are starting to get onto it. But I think here it's not so. So if anyone is listening to this, if you've never heard of a stand in the park, I'm sure most of them have fizzled out now, but I'm sure they would come back in an instant. So just look for that.
They would. We had about 100. We're down to about 20 regulars. Stand in the park. If you just type it into your search bar, people, it will bring up the stand and it would show you. You go into the website and it will show your local stand.
Yeah, I tried to go to my local stand. What was it, a year or so ago? And unfortunately, it doesn't seem to exist anymore.
Yeah, that's isn't it?
Maybe.
No.
Yeah, I'll blank that out.
Thank you very much. Yes.
I mean, in Newcastle.
Doxing one of your own. You are terrible.
Beep. What's that? Is that Viv reversing there? Beep, beep, beep.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Digital eraser. Calling digital eraser.
Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, 4D. I'll be looking. My trust is with you for that one.
Sorry about that. God.
Don't worry.
God, shoot me now.
So is there anybody?
Actually, all joking aside, because you guys wouldn't know, but I'd probably take one or two things every week that we've slipped out. I knew that earlier on I said something about somewhere I lived that neither of you picked up on, but you'd be surprised the amount of times we say something that I end up taking out just so no one else knows. This
is a really good reason why we pre-record it and we don't go live.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know, I know. Not that what we say is anything bad, but you know,
no.
No, we just don't want certain personal information we'd like to keep to ourselves at this juncture, shall we say.
yeah, I absolutely agree. Yeah, yeah. And
It's like I said to you, if everyone knew that I had a 12-inch penis, it wouldn't be good for me.
I know that's why, that's why I say, when I go in and there's gents at the urinals, and I just go into the cubicle because I know it's just gonna make them jealous.
I heard a rumor, Viv, that you're hung like a bear, teddy bear.
Oi, oh.
Do any of you two remember the Bad Taste Bears?
No.
Yes, I do remember them. I can't remember much.
I've still got a couple of them. In fact, I'm looking at 2 of them now. But that was a great range. If you said you didn't know them, Bronze, when we finish up, you'll have to look them up. But it was a range of bears that, as was known, they were very bad taste. There was a prostitute bear, there was a flasher bear, there was all these kind of very adult themed bears, and you could get them in cuddly teddy bear form, or as I've got a couple of the little sort of porcelain statuey type things, and they're just, some of those are absolutely way out there, would not pass today's laws and stuff, but there's some really good ones. You'll have to have a look.
Yeah. I remember them now. Yeah. Oh well. At least we got Easter coming up. 4 days off work. Yeah.
Oh yes, it's Easter weekend, and I always, Easter annoys me because it's different every year, and although I as I say, I like that I'm from a Christian country and I believe in the Christian ways, I have to be honest and say I don't believe in Christianity, and so I don't always remember what the dates mean and what the actual stuff is all about. But why does Easter change each year, Viv?
It's based around the moon. It's the moon, I believe. Yeah.
Oh, so it's nothing to do with it's something to do with Jesus Christ. It's more to do with the moon.
Yeah. It's the moon cycle. Yeah.
I don't know why. Again, even that, I just thought to myself, why would you think it was something to do it? But yes, I suppose I kind of just thought it was maybe that he was resurrected on the last weekend of something, and so it has to change each time. I don't know, but yeah.
No, it's basically the first weekend after the full moon, which is on or after the spring equinox. So that's how it works, really. It's a bit like the Muslim Ramadan. I think Ramadan's moon based as well. Depends on the cycles of the moon.
Right, I see.
Yeah. But yeah. It's a mathematical thing, really, about I think it's called Pascal, the Pascal full moon, which is after mid-March.
Right,
so
right.
There you go. That's what it's all about. I personally think that the dates were swapped around. That Christ was crucified at Christmas rather than Easter. But there you go.
Right.
I base my ideas on the appropriation of Christmas, which was because at Christmas it's the darkest time. The sun appears to hang in the sky for 3 days. It doesn't move. It scared old people, ancient peoples, and there are a lot of gods based on that period. Gods hung in trees, like the god Attis. There's lots of these gods, loads of them, who are hung on trees, and it's based on really heliocentric, or sun, the movements of the sun. and it would scare people, of course, if you're agriculturally based. You don't want the son to sort of almost die, do you? You don't want that.
Yeah.
So for 3 days, for 3 days, Christ was dead and then was resurrected. So I don't know. I mean, all these dates have been moved around anyway. We know that. We know that.
Yeah.
So I think that's reasonable to consider that as a possibility.
I see. Right.
Oh well.
In fact, I should also say, what's going to be the date next week? Because we got the St George's Day coming up.
Oh yes,
I always like to remind people of the 23rd of April.
Yeah, St George's Day. So happy St George's Day in advance, because we're going to be that's next Wednesday, so we'll be on next Thursday. So we're gonna actually miss it by a day. So in advance, happy St George's Day, everybody.
Yeah, happy St George's Day, and I hope there are celebrations. Like St Patrick's Day and St David's Day and St Andrew's Day. We can't. You know what I mean?
I was just going to say that we always celebrate the other ones, but for some reason, the Dragon Slayer has been pushed out of common knowledge. I don't see many flags up at all anymore.
No, not really.
All the time.
I mean, even though my favourite, my patron saint, basically, because I'm another location. Sorry, because I'm from a certain part of the country, I tend to sort of support Saint Edmund as being the patron saint. I'd rather have Saint Edmund than Saint George, but we've got Saint George, and so be it.
It's a symbol. It's what it represents rather than who it actually is.
I know. Yeah.
Actually, as we're going to be, as you just said, it's on Wednesday, and we're talking Thursday. We'll have to at least do some talk about who St George is, and would so that all three of us can think about that for next week. We'll have something that will say about St George.
Yeah, good point. He is quite mysterious. I think some people say he's Turkish. Some people say he's Palestinian. I mean, there are several other countries that celebrate St. George. I think, clearly Georgia.
I mean, they have the cross of St. George on their flag. But I mean, I don't think George was English, but then again, St. Patrick, the Irish patron saint, wasn't Irish. So, he was a Roman Briton.
Sure. That's for sure. I mean, St. Paddy's Day is bigger than St. George's Day, which is, I mean, it is a big laugh. Of course, I understand that. St. Paddy's Day is a lot of fun. St. George's, perhaps, I don't know, what do we actually do? We're not quite sure.
We're not encouraged to. We're not allowed to because it's racist.
I know. But what would we do on St. George's Day? I don't know.
Get together, have a party, have a street party, drink, eat, be merry, mix with your...
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt, Poddy, but I'm going to say that's my usual life. So what else? Sorry.
All I was going to say is in the army, we treated it quite traditionally. We got drunk and smashed the place up. But
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Call me old-fashioned and traditional, but hey, that's what we used to do.
I know. It's true. We are all,
I wonder. Speaking of the army, I wonder if that's what Sir Norman Wisdom did when he was in the army.
I think Sir Norman did, of course. I mean, he was in a very good, interesting film when he played someone in the army, I believe. He acted as, he did.
But we're kind of running out of things to say about Sir Norman Wisdom, so I think we just have to just mention his name.
I was just thinking I've got nothing to add to that.
I just don't know. I don't know anymore. I don't know anymore,
So Sir Norman Wisdom, there you go.
Hang on. Was today? Did you say this was episode 10?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Then what we'll do is we'll have a different mascot for the next 10.
Oh yes, that's good.
There you go. We'll go through British. We'll go through British stars, and we'll have each. We'll have 10 weeks.
British comedy icons. I mean, I've got a couple in mind already. I would say
I've got a couple in mind. I certainly have. Do you know the word that popped into my mind? I'm not suggesting we necessarily use him as a patron, but Terry Thomas, who remembers him?
Terry, what a cad! You cad.
Well, yes.
Terry Thomas. I would.
What? Who? Ding dong. No,
Oh,
that was the other one.
Leslie
But
Phillips.
that's Leslie Phillips. Yeah.
We've got plenty to choose from. I would maybe suggest Sid James, although he was South African. Or
I'd throw the master Michael Crawford into it just because he was so good at everything.
Yeah. Or even Kenneth Williams. Ronnie Barker, Kenneth Williams,
Peter Williams,
Peter all matron.
We're giving away all these marvelous people we're going to be talking about.
Well,
it's getting people ready for it, I suppose.
Yeah, it's getting them ready. Now, okay, to wrap up, where did the word geezer originate?
Oh, God.
The origin of geezer is an interesting one. It appears to derive, well, they don't know for sure, but it appears to derive from the now obsolete term geyser, meaning someone who walks around in disguise or a performer in a masquerade. So it was a word used in so it's a word that was used in the Middle Ages to refer to mummers who were actors in traditional plays without words, and has now simply come to mean bloke.
Yeah, a disguiser.
A disguiser, indeed. A geyser.
Skeezer.
A geyser means skeezer. Don't know quite how that works out, because geezers are not really in disguise, are they, mate? You know what I mean, you muppet.
Yeah.
Right out there in your face, isn't it, geezer?
Oh, totally.
Now you said that, Viv, that does ring a bell. I think I have, because I think at some point I have come across that explanation, the etymology of the word geezer, and that does ring a bell. Yes,
but another etymology gives Old French guise, meaning manner, fashion, way, from Frankish Weezer or Germanic sources. So style or fashion of attire. So it was don't know. Yeah.
It's kind of it's a bit it's kind of vague either way, isn't it? There's not really a logical connection either way, but
that's right. A lot of words are like that. I mean, like bollocks. I never seem to. Is that acceptable, by the way? Well, I said it. The word the word we use a lot, which is one of my favourite words, along with arse, is it does mean testicles. It's apparently 1744 a variant of bullocks from Old English. Bullockus, testicles.
If bollocks is an offensive word, I remember hearing the late great Ian Jury talking, and he used to say, and he used to, instead of saying bollocks, he used to clean it up, and he just used to say bollo. Oh, bollo. It wasn't offensive, which I thought
apparently, as in British slang, as a sort of as a shout out, means nonsense. It only comes from 1919. I find that hard to believe, but there you go.
It does strictly mean testicles, but when you say that's a load of old bollocks, it just means you're talking rubbish.
Yeah, it does. It just means rubbish, and I love it when Americans say that. I think all our American listeners need to adopt some of their great English silly words like that's a load of old bollocks, or that's a bunch of arse.
Yeah, or what a wanker.
Wanker. Americans sound great when they say wanker. They do. They really do. They sound terrible when they say bloody. That doesn't really work. I don't know. It's the accent, isn't it? You know, it's bloody crazy. But when they say, yeah, man, what a wanker, it sounds pretty cool.
And someone should tell the Americans that they've got the fanny the wrong end of their body.
They have.
The wrong side, not wrong end.
I know that, because fanny means buttocks, doesn't it, basically?
Well, for the Americans, yes, but for us, it's a woman's front bottom, shall we say.
I know. And fanny pack.
That's
so they
mean
bottom.
That's the one that makes me cringe when someone says, "Oh, has he got his fanny pack?" I just think that sounds so cringy because of what it means in this country.
I know, but it's just our version of what it means, and it did give an American serviceman a slap in the Second World War from my mother, who was dancing with this gentleman. He said, You know what, honey? I have to say, you got a beautiful fanny.
The one I
So-
really love. The one I really love is how us English we say, "Oh yeah, I'm smoking a fag," and the Americans are completely different.
God, it means shooting a gay man.
You're doing what?
God.
Yeah, in English,
You're
it's
allowed-
you're
You're
smoking
allowed
a
to do
cigarette.
that in your country?
Oh
Not
my
smoking a
God. That's terrible. I know. For us, fag, everyone says the word fag. Do you want a fag, mate? Yeah, all right. Yeah, yes. Spark it up, mate.
Yeah.
Oh well. There we go. But last weekend I went down to town. I wanted to buy some camouflage trousers, but I couldn't find any.
Well, here's one. Bear walks into a bar and says, "Give me a whiskey and Coke." "Why the big pause?" asks the bartender.
That's a variant of the horse joke, man.
That's what? Sorry.
It's a variant of the horse joke.
Yeah, why the long face? Yeah, I know.
Horse walks into a bar. Why the long face, fella?
Yeah.
I was going to say, as we were talking about bollocks, I was going to leave it with what do you call a Russian with 3 testicles?
Go on.
Who'd you nick a bollock off?
Hey!
I don't know if that's classed as an okay joke these days or not, but I really couldn't give a shit. So
it's an excellent joke. Don't worry about that.
It is, yeah,
I mean, I have to say, sadly, I lost my job at the calendar factory. No, I know, but I got fired because I took a couple of days off.
Oh no!
See, always stick with one because it just goes downhill.
I know. That's really shit, wasn't it? That one.
Here you go. Here's one last one to really destroy it.
All right, go on.
Caught my son chewing on an electrical cord, so I had to ground him. He's doing better currently and now conducting himself properly.
Whoa!
Oh, there was lots in there. Nice.
Yeah. 3 puns. Yeah.
Yes. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's
On that happy note, I will say good night to you both.
Yeah, indeed. Be blessed. Have a wonderful Easter, and we'll convene again on the Thursday of next week, which I don't know the date because I don't know.
The 4th. It'd be the
24th, yeah.
Oh, 24th. You're right. Well, have a wonderful Easter. I'm going to play some Easter music, maybe. I don't know. See how it goes.
Bye, guys. Okay.